What's going on, people? You just joined the Abomination. Appreciate y'all coming through, checking out the video. All right, in this video, we about to talk about an announcement recently made from Disney, Mufasa. And I always saw it was the title with the black screen reminiscent to the Lion King font and, title screen or whatever. But we don't really know what's happening with this. But I could have swore I recall somebody saying before the next Lion King movie was going to be a prequel. It was not going to be a Lion King 2, like a sequel. If y'all don't know, if y'all ain't heard me say it before, the Lion King is my favorite movie of all time. All right, it got me into creating, it got me wanting to animate or do animal talking stories and whatnot, all that type of shit, because I remember how much it meant to me. Again, the emotions I felt as a child watching that movie and telling me stories or like life lessons that can go with you, over into adulthood, or it's actually about a character going through adulthood and not getting to be a kid again, because life is saying like, hey, like some things need to be addressed. But again, favorite movie of all time. The movie is fucking magical. Disney has already shown us that they're not creating anything new. All right, they're gonna capitalize off of what they've made before. All right, movies that they've made that were animated. Now we're just gonna do live action remakes because people like the first one, so they'll come and see this one. So yeah, there you go. So I'm aware. I know what's going on with Disney. I'm not expecting anything worth watching, worth consuming. This will not affect the culture, but there are pros and cons of them doing a prequel with Mufasa, because although there is some lore that's been discovered of the life of Mufasa and Scar, before they were the characters that we see him as before in like children's books or like concept, I think like sketches or notes or whatever, but also it's being addressed in The Lion Guard, the recent or the Disney Junior series that talks about Simba's son as well as his daughter Kiara, who is the firstborn who will inherit the kingdom, Pride Lands. So yeah, that's why this is really like interesting to see what they're going to do with this movie. I'm sure it's going to be before I don't think James Earl Jones will be reprising his role as Mufasa. I think this will we might see some strong woman agenda with Sarabi and Disney possibly pulling the Obi-Wan Kenobi, saying like, well, the male character that you love is only here because of the female that he had in his life or influence his decision making, like to a certain degree, as well as possibly trying to make us empathize with the villain, with Scar, and seeing how he was done so wrong. His hunger for the crown is justified because we're in a time to where we're justifying bad behaviors and women can't do no wrong. Ultimately, nothing a woman does is wrong. So again, I'm not pissed or whatever. This is to be expected. It's interesting to see what direction they'll go with this movie. Now, not to go in too much detail about this idea that I have for the Lion King, the hypothetical perfect Lion King movie series remake. All right, that's what I'm calling it. Now, I would think that a remake would, address issues that the original might have had, or giving us new informations or answering questions that people might have had, to just expand upon the lore, respecting what came before, but just opening people's eyes to some other things or shining some light on some other things that happen. That's what I would think a remake would bring. So instead of the garbage that was this Lion King remake, simply give us Lion King 1, but with a modern skin on it. So like maybe technology that didn't make the animals look so real, but more so kind of like an Into the Spider-Verse, where it gives us another layer of animation, and seeing Disney like really push it, really bring it this time with this modernized Lion King remake. And you would address like the at the end of Lion King 1, where he originally has this son called Copa. Instead, in the remake, it addresses that, and he actually has his daughter Kiara. We see her at the end, not the announcing of the new king, the birth of the new king or queen like we see in the first one. Maybe it just ends with you looking into the arms of Simba and Nala, and then bam, they have a baby. It's Kiara. And then after credit scene or mid credit scene, you see the Outlands and Kovu being born. and Zira might have a an introduction, her little conniving villain smile, and then bam, you see her dark baby, and we end on that note. And then in Lion King 2, you would have Kiara, which is another example of, just like with the Marvel superheroes and with Star Wars and other franchises, but you could have had your strong woman agenda, and you could have had your people of color or the colored representation, because that Lion King 2 movie would have shown Kiara inheriting the throne, so she's running shit, being prepped for the royal duties of her position, and have Kovu, the dark lion, in his whole redemption story, or not being like his adopted father Scar. That's something else that we can address, the actual adoption of Kovu, and showing that he's not related to Kiara in any way. And we see him and see his whole story of how he ends up becoming the guy that she chooses. Bam, now this dude is practically the king, but again, she's the queen. These are her pride lands. And Simba's still around to get on his ass in case something go wrong. But also you have Kion, Simba's son, who takes over the Lion Guard. Now taking us back to the Mufasa prequel, which is, I'm saying, like, I wonder what history of the Lion King would they address with this prequel, because originally he was just a lion. He didn't get chosen, or Mufasa's brother didn't get chosen. The Lion Guard series made it to where the king is one position, but the leader of the Lion Guard has like these mystical powers, which Lion King 1 kind of addresses with Rafiki and him, listening to the wind and doing his little rituals and whatnot. And then in Lion King 2, you have Mufasa like in the clouds showing his face. You have Rafiki talking to him, or feeling his presence, actually talking to him later on in the movie. So,
are you crazy? This will never work. Oh, Mufasa, you've been up there too long. Your head is in the clouds. Okay. All right, okay.
So those mystical elements are there. So the Lion Guard kind of highlighting that and using that to show a different position in the Pride Lands. I appreciate that. I like that. It was using what we already got, but again, expanding our world on it a little bit more. And the story in that was Scar was the leader of the Lion Guard, used his powers for evil. So now his power has been taken away from him. So that's furthers his resentment toward Mufasa. So yeah, in this hypothetical remake, you would show Kiara and then her little brother in that position. Maybe because in that movie it was about togetherness. The two prides that were kind of split up because of differences in how they looked. They end up, instead of resenting one another, they ended up understanding like, hey, we are one. We are all lions. We should be together, instead of some being banished away and whatnot. Like, we can all work together, like a family.
Get back here.
Let it go, Zira. It's time to put the past behind us.
I'll never let it go.
So that will give Kiara her moment, as well as when Zira dies, she like falls from the off a cliff, and the she falls into the river. So the logs and the water they take her away, like they did Nuka. But you can show how maybe that was Kayon's roar, his Lion Guard roar, actually triggered that event.
Maybe next time we'll actually get rid of Kiara, or Bunga, or maybe even your mom or dad. Face it, Kion, there ain't nothing you can do to stop us.
Oh, yes, there is.
And he has to deal with turning into his uncle, which was a struggle that he had during the Lion Guard series. So again, he just practically killed this woman. He's like, shit, should I be using this roar? So we have his conflict, his issues, and then we could see him on his journey, possibly in the Lion King 3 hypothetical remake, to where he's out, going, like I said, off on his own journey, and you see the issues of the Pride Lands that Kiara is going through with her brother not being present. Now, however they split that up, I don't know, but those are just my thoughts on what I would think, like I said, a remake would actually be doing if it really cares about creating something that will really impact the audience, not just another cash grab, which is what all of these remakes have been, and what I think will be with this one, because Mufasa, he was a great king. That name itself is going to bring people get butts into the seats, get ticket sales. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Mufasa announcement. It's gonna be trash. I don't care what they do with it, but it will be intriguing or interesting to see what story will they try to will they use with it. Because we're kind of already saying, well, you can't adapt to the movies that have come before to a remake that makes sense. So they're just gonna go in the past where they're not really held to anything, or they are, because they've already been addressed. So like I said, yeah, gonna see what they do. Mufasa, people. There you go. That's the announcement. That's all for this video. Go ahead and leave me a like or a dislike. If those buttons are not enough, tell me how you really feeling by leaving a comment down below. Are you excited about anything Disney comes out with? What's your favorite Disney movie? How do you feel about Mufasa as a character and what's about to happen to him? Do you love The Lion King? Who's your favorite character from The Lion King? All right, and if you find any value in my opinion whatsoever, you want to hear more of my thoughts, I appreciate you. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel.
So I'm not sure I get you.
Give me a real fight.
Any of you guys read that chapter in The Art of War about misdirection?